The big lie in feminism was that if you make it as a woman, if you make it your goal, your one big emphasis in life, to prove that you're equal to a man, to prove that you can do anything a man can do, to enjoy and have access to all the things that men have in their lifestyle, their job, and whatever, then you're going to be a more fulfilled woman. That was the lie that was presented. Now, it sounded good because it's half true. Men and women are equal. As human beings, they have equal value. But the problem was, the insinuation from feminism is, well, you're not being treated equal. You need to fight for this. You need to prove that you're equal and that you could be the same as a man. Well, here's the problem. While men and women are equal, there's nothing sane about men and women at all. Their bodies are different. Their perspective is different. Everything that could be different between a man and a woman is different. They're the same in value. That doesn't even have to be fought for. But they're different in every other way. And the problem, the no-win situation that several generations since probably the mid-60s have been put in, that women have been put in, is that they need to go out and assert themselves into a man's world. Now, there was some positive outcomes to that when it comes to wages, there was some injustice there that needed to be corrected. And for the most part, it has been. Equal access to education, equal access to jobs, equal pay. I'm all for that. But the problem was it bled over into every other aspect of life, where women wanted to have the full-time career. But they also wanted to be a full-time mother with 2 or 3 kids. And they also wanted a full-time social life outside of the family. Well, at that point, a woman, by the time she finishes college, starts a career, has a few kids, gets married, has a few kids, and starts to try and enjoy this social circle of her female peers, it becomes inevitable that it's way too much. There's no way any human being can fit all that into their schedule. You can't be full-time, devoted to a career, willing to drop everything, work overtime and all that, and still be a full-time parent and be there for the extra recitals and baseball practices and this and that, and have time left over to go hang out with your female gals and, have a martini out on some balcony in the city somewhere. And then, here's the real kicker, maybe even have time to be with your husband. It was a rock and a hard place position that women were steered right into by feminism. And what was the end result? The end result was you had a bunch of unhappy men. You had a bunch of men who were essentially being turned into doormats because the only way that they were going to make these feminist-driven women happy was to basically bow down and say, oh yes, you make the decisions, you do it, you call the shots, because I need to respect the fact that you're equal to a man, and the only way that we're going to have any peace in the house is if I let you run the show. Well, guess what happens? In life, not every decision turns out great. That decision to change careers or buy the other house or buy the car or get that credit card, not all decisions turn out good. So when on the times that it turns to crap, usually the man bears the responsibility and has to come up with a solution. Well, if the woman's calling all the shots, then when it all goes down the dumper, well, she's got nobody else to blame. She's the one who was calling the shots. She's the one who decided to get that house. She's the one who decided to change careers. And then it becomes clear to her, well, gee, with all this responsibility, you got to take the blame if you're the one calling the shots. Well, most women are not into that. So what was the end result? Feminism ended up making for a whole lot of unhappy, disillusioned women and a whole lot of very unhappy men who were neglected in their marriages by a wife who felt that she had to take on full-time career, be a full-time parent, be a full-time socialite, and on top of all that, be in charge of the show. And if she had to, she was going to withhold sex to get that control. So what you have is the perfect storm for divorce. In the United States, the divorce rate is over 50%. And that's with people that are married at the same age. I'm just touching on a corollary here. Everybody keeps saying, oh, if you're married and you're like within 2-3 years age of each other, that's the best arrangement for a lasting marriage. Well, guess what? The divorce rate is over 50%. So all those who say you have to be almost the same age, and anyone else who gets married to somebody, say 8 to 10 years younger than them, oh, it's just guaranteed to fail. Consider that. Look at the failure rate of same-age marriages in the United States. So to wrap it up, over here, you don't see feminism. It's beginning to rear its little ugly head, but it only in the first little stages. But for the most part, you have an entire country here where women behave like women. And that's not a lesser thing. It's a great thing. The women, they're not afraid to dress nice. They're not afraid to be feminine. They have not suffered feminism's accusation that if you look pretty and you look sweet and whatever, somehow you're a ditz. So you got to avoid that at all costs. Cut your hair short, wear pants, don't look attractive because you want to be just like a man. Well, here in the Philippines, us guys, we get off the plane, and one of the first things we notice is, wow, these women dress like women. They behave like women. Men love women who act like women. For those who are really back home, middle-aged women, and especially you young women who are just now, whether you realize it or not, you are surrounded, you are 1,000 feet deep in a culture that's devoted to feminism. Before you go down that road, understand this one little truth about life. Men are not attracted to women who act like men. They're not. Men are attracted to women who behave like women. Women who are proud to be women. Women who enjoy being a woman. It's not seen as lesser than. It's seen as this beautiful mystery to be experienced. And so men come here to the Philippines where women behave like women. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And it brings back to a man that empowerment of being a man. We come here, and some guys go overboard and they turn into arrogant jerks. I've seen it. It's not pretty. But the majority of guys who have been beaten down, turned into doormats, they come here, they're treated with respect, and suddenly it brings back to them this sense of how to be a gentleman. When a woman respects you, there's, among decent men, this natural response to return that respect. But if you're in a constant state of contention, say back in the United States, where every little thing you got to fight over it. Every little thing is just, I want to do it this way. Well, then I want to do it the other way. And you just find yourself in this contention, this boxing match arena, which is what now relationships in the United States have kind of resembled. When you leave that behind, and then you come here, and you're engaging with another human being, with a female woman who respects you, all of a sudden you, little by little, start realizing, I'm going to return this. I'm going to return the kindness, the sweetness. It's like pouring water into a dry plant that's just got one little bit of life left to it. Men come here, they encounter what I would call true feminism. Women who enjoy being feminine. And it's like cool water to a thirsty traveler. We get here, we experience it, and we will go back home, get our ducks in a row, and travel all the way across the planet to come back here for more. That is how deeply within our nature it is to appreciate the differences between a man and a woman. And it's been destroyed by feminism back home. And not just in the United States. I hear the same thing from guys in the UK, from Australia, Canada. Most Western cultures, I've run into guys who said, it's no different than the U.S. Maybe it's worse. So they come here and they have the same experience where they just, wow, these Filipinas are just beautiful on the outside, but they're beautiful in heart. So many of them. So many of them. I would even say the majority. Everybody hears about the bad girls, but really, they just get more press. there's far more good women in the Philippines than bad ones. Far more. I would say 80%. What I see looking at my own American culture from a distance, now that I've been here, and there's just nothing that appeals to me about the old way that I was raised up in. There's nothing. I mean, the materialism doesn't appeal to me. I see too many people here happy without a widescreen TV. I mean, I see people here who are happy, with the joyful relationships they have in their life, and they don't have all these material things. And when there is something material to enjoy, like a lechon or whatever for a fiesta, everybody enjoys it and has a great time. And there's a generosity, there's a hospitality that exists. Whereas back home, people are stressing out. They're stressing out because they're in debt, having gotten the latest new phone or TV or car or bigger house or better vacation than their neighbors got. And they're wondering, how am I going to pay off all this debt? That is the hamster wheel that just has no attraction to me anymore. It just doesn't. I've been a minimalist for years, maybe decades. And so some part of me said, this just is not fulfilling. And I've been much happier with less. I carry a very small footprint. Really, right now, if it came down to it, I could leave Dumaguete with one overnight bag and a backpack. Everything else, I just leave it behind. I don't find happiness in material things. I just don't. And as far as relationships, I've been much happier with having a relationship with a woman who behaves like a woman. And I don't look down on her for it. I respect her for it. I appreciate it. I enjoy it.